All right, it's Big Hurt here. I'm going to do some reviews of Vegas sports books. These are just my opinions and what I've been through personally. I started coming to Vegas in like 1997, and how things have changed between then and now. And it's just now there's barely any books to bet at because they've just gotten rid of and consolidated everybody. Everybody's William Hill or Caesars or whatever. It's not like it was even back in the late 90s when I first started coming here, where you could shop around town and drive to different places before the apps and get different bets in. Now it's just totally different. So my first one on the list is Circa. Now, Circa is obviously the best sports book in Vegas for many different reasons. Their big limits, their transparency. Obviously, watching games there is cool, with the big screens and all that, and the stadium swim. But plus, I used to work there for a little bit as a ticket writer, so I know a little bit about the behind the scenes stuff. It's the best book. Me personally, I've never really won there too much. I don't bet there a whole lot because it seems like I can't beat them. I do well with them with the golf betting, the futures, because they usually have the best prices. So I have hit a lot of tickets with them with the golf, but the regular betting, I haven't had much success with them. Westgate used to be really good, but now July 1st they switched over to Caesars, so they're going to be trash just like Caesars is. Westgate used to give fair limits and have a lot of different things, but they're pretty much now Caesars, so don't have much good to say about them. All their good people that worked in their risk room are all going over to Circa now. So Caesars is basically, William Westgate is basically going to be nothing from now on. William Hill, same thing. William Hill is just fucking trash. I got banned at William Hill probably maybe 9 to 10 years ago, and then they merged. They merged with Caesars, so they basically let everybody who got kicked out of William Hill when they merged. They basically let everybody back in, but it's the same old book. Anybody who bets regularly in Vegas knows that if you're betting big and you're doing it at William Hill, that means you're a losing bettor because they don't take big bets. You be able to put in a few, depending how big you bet, you might be able to do maybe a week or two. But if you win in those week or two, they're going to cut you down. So anybody you see on TikTok or Instagram, whatever, popping off about, oh, I won this at William Hill and I did this at William Hill, it doesn't mean shit because William Hill is taking their bets because they lose. They're a losing player. Anybody with a pulse who was a winner, you don't ever see them say, hey, I won this big bet at William Hill, because they don't take it. So I just see a lot of that on social media, people popping off about winning stuff. It's like, hey, man, it's like if anybody actually knew how it works, you're not winning there, you're losing. That's why they're giving you the bets. There was a $1 million bet on the U.S. Or on the World Cup with Mexico. Stations is the same way. Stations, I might as well group Stations in this little thing here, because they took a $1 million bet on Mexico in the World Cup. It's like, that means the guy who placed that bet, he was either a one-time table player, maybe somebody that was up big or down big in the table games, and he just came over and bet it, or they took it from a losing bettor. Because there's no way a winning bettor, Stations, would take $1 million bet on anything. Within the last year, I started doing bets for a syndicate. I'm not going to name any names. But I was putting in bets, mostly NBA playoff bets and NFL prop bets for player props at Stations. The first 2 weeks, they were taking like 2,000 a pop, easy, no problem. And then I started winning with those props, and they instantly cut me down to they went from 500. Kept winning for another week, and then now I can't even put a $5 bet on an NFL player prop at Stations. So it's the same things. I see a lot of these guys talking about, well, I won this much at stations and I bet big. That's because you're a losing better. It took me about a month to get kicked out of stations, and they'll take my bets. I mean, they're not completely banning, but they'll say, okay, yeah, $5. So stations is the same as Caesars. They're trash. Boomers, I don't even want to do Boomers is probably the worst. When Boomers first started, they did a promotional thing where you put in 250, get 250. Went down to the book down there, and the girls at the counter didn't even. It's like they couldn't answer any questions. They didn't know what the hell was going on. It was ridiculous. And then Boomers is the same way. The head of, like I said, I'm not going to use any names in this because I don't ever want to get sued or have anybody come at me if anybody ever listens to this. So I'm not going to use any names. But the head of trading over to Boomers is a well-known guy that has moved around town, that has been in this industry for a very long time. And he was going on social media talking about, oh, Boomers is going to take big bets and we're going to be different. No, they're trash. They're the same as stations. They're going to limit your bets, not take your bets. Because I tried putting in the bets for my betting partners when they gave me picks. I tried putting them in at Boomers, and I get to where on the app it spins and spins and spins, and they don't want to take any bets. So Boomers, that's why they're trash. They're like McDonald's. They're lower than McDonald's. I don't know what the lowest form of fast food is, but that's Boomers. MGM, personally, I like MGM. They've done well with me, with giving me different comps and stuff, and the payouts are quick through the app, because nowadays everything has to be through the app. Nobody walks around Vegas with a bag full of money placing bets at different books. It don't work like that anymore. Everything is done on the apps. Okay, MGM, I think, and plus they have a big variety. There was some stuff that they let you do as far as like, I'm not a big parlay person, because I know everybody likes to do the same game parlay nowadays, and all the, that's just the standard now, is everybody wants to parlay stuff. They want to bet $10 to win 800. But I've found that MGM lets you bet some correlated stuff where you can do so. I have no problem with MGM. They've never given me any problems. They're quick payouts through the app. If I request money at 1 o'clock in the morning, it's in my account by like 1:30. So I don't have any gripes with MGM. Boyd is basically FanDuel here in Vegas. I don't have too many bad things to say about Boyd, or good things. With my betting partners, Boyd has been a big losing account. If you look at the bet history with Boyd, it's a big loser. Sometimes when you're putting in bets for betting partners, there's certain accounts that are hot that you seem to always win at, and then there's always accounts that it seems like every bet you put in there it loses. It's just coincidence. Doesn't really mean anything. Like with the betting partners, Boyd was the worst account by far, but Westgate was the best. It seems like every bet we put in at Westgate won. So that's just the way it goes. Boyd's got a good menu. Can't complain too much about them. Golden Nugget, I don't even know why I put it on this list, because I don't even know if they have a sports book anymore. They got rid of the app, so they didn't want people betting on the app. Golden Nugget, when they were still doing the app, they were actually pretty good on like college football Saturdays, because they were the absolute worst of moving the lines. They would just sit and not move their lines. So basically what people do now, books in town, they copy what Circa does. They copy, what Pinnacle does, BetCris, all the offshore books, but mostly Circa. So if Circa, moves a college football game from 8 to 8.5, 9, most of the places will just do that. They'll just copy what they do. It's called betting on air, where Circa will take a bet at like -8 on somebody. It's because they took a big bet on -8, so they moved the line. Where all the other books, I call them the McDonald's books, because they're everywhere and they're trash. They just move without taking a bet. It's called moving on air. And Golden Nugget, they would never move their line. So if like Circa moved a college football game to like 9, you know, Golden Nugget would still have it at 8 for like an hour, and they used to take bets on it. So, but they're kind of out of the game now. I don't even know what they're doing. They were good for a little while, because they never moved their lines in time. But that's pretty much dead. Plus Tony Miller's gone, so who knows? And they lost the other guy, the Aaron guy with glasses. He went somewhere, so it's just another McDonald's sports book, in my opinion. South Point. I think South Point is a really good book, but their problem is they're stuck in 1994. You can't make deposits. You can't make withdrawals on the app. They want you to come in the book, which I understand because they want foot traffic in the casino. They want people to gamble on other shit and eat at restaurants and stuff like that. I get that, but as far as sports betting, they're archaic. Their lines are good. They don't juice stuff. They don't go. The Rams -3. Minus 140, 130, whatever. They'll just move to 3.5. They don't believe in that. It's a good old school book. With Chris Andrews and those guys down there. They do a good job, but as far as their deposits and withdrawals, it's archaic. They need to step that up and have people not have to come with cash in the book, especially because I live so far from the South Point. I'm not going to drive every day, 35, 40 minutes in traffic to make bets there. If they did that more on the app, I would probably bet more there. Same thing with the Win. So South Point and Win are the same things. I know a lot of professional bettors like the Win. They take big bets. They're fair with their limits, but same thing. You can make deposits on the app, but you cannot make withdrawals. And to me, that's a huge thing because I don't want to have to go get in the car and go get money. I want to be able to transfer money whenever I want, 2 o'clock in the morning, whenever I feel like it. So same thing, Win, South Point, kind of the same deal. A little archaic with that stuff. It's one thing I can say about Caesars is they do have quick payouts, just like MGM. If I want money at 3 o'clock in the morning, I can get it. The deposits are easy. They don't charge a fee. It's weird because William Hill and Caesars are the same book, but Caesars will charge you a deposit fee. Like if you go and put $1,000 in your account through the app using your bank account, I think they charge around 3%. And Caesars doesn't charge you anything. So I don't know. They're basically the same book, so I don't know why one charges and one doesn't. I don't know. So other than that, that's about it. If you come to Vegas, keep all that stuff in mind. It's just my opinions. Somebody might say I'm wrong. Whatever. I don't really care. It's what I've done. So if you're looking for a book, maybe listen to this and pick what you want to do. I've bet everywhere. I've been around everywhere. I've been in Vegas long enough to remember what you did before the apps, where you did have to drive around. You had to have your money on you, and you had to drive to this place and drive to that place. So I'm kind of a good judge of all this because I've seen both sides of it. So that's it. Later, dudes.